Okay, and we're live. So, yeah. So where do you want to start for week 2 as far as the recap?
I guess Thursday night.
Yeah. I mean, I touched on it in the last, well, obviously you were at work, but yeah, I touched on it because obviously I wasn't happy. I wanted to give like my perspective on the game, my picks for week 3. I think I ended up going 9-7 overall for week 3 in the picks that I made, if I remember them all correctly. Pretty sure I went 9-7 total because it's 16 games. Nobody's hit a bye week yet.
Not yet.
I
don't know when that starts.
Yeah. Thursday night, that game. We definitely know that any field associated with the Washington team is cursed because somebody always ends up with a leg injury. Always. Always. What?
Usually a pretty bad one.
Yeah, it's usually pretty bad. It's not great. It's awful. Nick Gates, that just
well, at least he's walking again. He's not going to have 17 surgeries for the fear of amputation. So
yeah,
he's got that going for him.
Thank God. But that's still bad.
He might even be back this year.
That's pushing it. I mean, yeah, he's walking and everything, but
well, it's also just a break. It's not like he needs like total leg reconstruction because he had a spiral fracture.
Yeah, but still, that's like, did you watch the injury?
Yeah.
Like,
I saw it before you guys did.
Like, ouch. It was so bad they weren't even gonna replay it on the TV.
Oh, I think the one that Alex Smith had was worse.
Well, yeah, it was the equivalent of Joe Theismann.
Yeah. I don't know. I think he'll be back.
Yeah, it's not career-ending, no, but I don't think he's going to be back this season.
I think he could be back this season. I mean, broken bones don't take that long to heal. And Aaron Rodgers fractured his or broke his collarbone and came back that same season too. That was like week 2 or 3 against the Vikings, and he came back against Panthers.
I still don't agree with that, but I'm not. Yeah. Yeah. No. But yeah. At first, like that final play that allowed Washington to re-kick their field goal. Yes, it did look like he was offsides, but of course they were only going to show the one angle. They weren't going to show it from every angle like they do with all the other plays. But Lawrence was not actually offsides because he actually got a very good jump on the ball.
He also can't jump like that.
Actually, the ball was in motion, so yes, he can jump like that, and he just happened to get a very good jump on it, So it was a crap penalty. The Giants once again got screwed. There was a couple of other penalties during that game that were very questionable because, and I'm not saying this, obviously because I'm a Giants fan, but 9 times out of 10, the Giants do get handed some of the most BS penalties, and they are pretty big factors in the game.
Browns get some too.
Yeah, but the Browns aren't one of the most penalized teams in the league. That would be the Giants.
Well, they had the opposite effect. Usually, they don't get calls against them when they need to happen. Like usually, when I go back to the Sorensen hit in the division, where Sorensen was leading with the helmet and ended up causing a fumble.
Well, yeah. See, the refs just need to learn how to call plays and make it a favorable game. But that's never going to happen because it's just something that's not.
Well, and the issue with that too is that you got to remember there's 5 of them?
No, there's more than 5 judges, 5 referees on that field at any given time.
Well, no, you have a ref, you have an umpire, you have 2 side judges and 2 ball judges, I think.
There's almost 10 of them in total, if I'm not mistaken.
But at any point in time, there's probably only 2 or 3 with really good eyes on what's going on, and they have 11 players or 22 players to watch. You're never going to get it right.
Yeah, but I mean, come on, Philip. You know as well as I do that with this game, they can definitely be a lot better because, I mean, even the year that we had the replacement refs and everybody was calling for the regular referees to come back, it's just the referees need to do better. They need to call a more fair game because literally with some games, it comes down to the final play and it costs a team a win.
It's hard. It's hard being a ref. I'm
not saying their job is easy or hard one way or the other, but at the same time, they should have reviewed it from the booth because it was under 2 minutes. There was no time left on the clock once the kick happened, and then they threw the flag. So to me, it should have been null and void because there was no time left on the clock, and then they threw the flag. No, that to me was somebody was talking in their ear.
Well, the refs can throw the flag whenever they want. Doesn't matter if time's expired or not. But you're never going to get it right, completely right. It seems a little arbitrary when they decide to review, when they decide to not to review, to pick the flag back up. It seems like they can do it at any time, and it also seems like we can't do it now. We'll do it later. You know what I'm saying?
Right, and it also goes based on what team is playing what team. So, it's one of those that, sorry to say, but if it's a Tom Brady team playing and something's not going in his team's favor, guess what? The other team's going to get penalized, so it favors a Brady team.
That doesn't happen.
Really?
Yeah, really.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I also watch a game without a biased eye, so. that doesn't happen as often as people think it does.
Yeah. It actually does.
No.
Yeah, it does.
No.
Remember the Brady rule? Yeah, that's because of Brady.
There are plenty of rules named after other players too.
Sure. Okay. But everybody can agree that Brady's the biggest crybaby in the league.
I don't agree with that either. Philip Rivers.
Brady's the bigger crybaby.
Rivers, bigger crybaby.
I think we should move on to the next subject because you're no. So you said the biggest upset for you was the Panthers Saints game. Why do you say that was the biggest upset of week 2?
Because the Saints had looked really solid first week. Who did they play first week? Oh, so yeah,
Green Bay.
Yeah, so they held them to 3 points, and I expected them to do a lot better against the Panthers.
And
I understand that Rodgers didn't play all preseason. That's probably a preseason game to him, but I expected more than 3 points and 2 interceptions and Jordan Love to take over within the last 11 minutes of the fourth quarter.
Right. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't that a divisional game?
No, Panthers are not in the Packers division.
No.
Oh, you're talking about Saints.
Yeah,
Saints
the Saints and Panthers.
Yeah, that's division. I believe it's Saints, Falcons, Panthers, and Buccaneers.
Yeah, that sounds about right. So what other reason would that have been an upset for you?
Well, I mean, Jameis Winston looked like the player he was supposed to be when he got drafted by the Buccaneers a long time ago before he came over, before he started throwing all kinds of interceptions. And it just, I expected him to do better than 3 points. I mean, I don't think you can expect the defense to always bail you out, but you got to at least expect your offense to do something.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, now wasn't it when he was still with Tampa, he became the first player, I believe, in NFL history to throw 30 touchdowns and 30 interceptions in the same season?
But at least 30 of each, yes.
Any other reasons you think that was a big upset for you? Other than just, pure expectation based on how the Saints did in week 1?
Just pure expectation because, Sean Payton, I don't think he's ever gotten beaten that bad. Yeah, Jameis Winston threw 2 interceptions on that, and he was 50% accuracy.
Ooh.
11 for 22 and 111 yards.
Yeah. What was the final score of that game?
26-7.
Oh, yeah, that's a pretty big margin.
Well, the Saints didn't score into the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I do remember that. That right there is pretty significant because I don't think in the entire time that I've been watching football that anybody like okay, like I said, in the entire time that I've been watching football, I don't think any one team has held the Saints to not scoring for that amount of time within an entire game.
And this is also Sam Darnold's second game with the Panthers. And after watching him in New York for 3 years, I don't think people expected him to be. Well, I mean, he was 26 for 38 with 2 touchdowns and an interception.
Yeah, Darnold really surprised me because, everybody had like this big expectation of him when he was with the Jets. And I'm sorry, but the Jets really let him down like big time. So, me personally, I think he's actually going to do really, really well with Carolina and, with Matt Rule as his coach rather than, having it stayed in New York. But maybe he could have thrived under the new head coach in New York and, Zach Wilson as his number 2. But you never know what could have happened. But I think that, most quarterbacks, if they do really bad in one place and they get traded to another and start thriving, I think that's what they needed. They just needed a change of scenery. Like look at the Matthew Stafford, Jared Goff trade. Look at how that's affecting the two of them.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. There's something about the Jets too. I don't know. Mike LaFleur is their offensive coordinator.
Well, I mean, to be fair, the Jets have kind of been a dumpster fire since, like, Rex Ryan was their head coach and Mark Sanchez was their quarterback.
Well, that was Rex Ryan with Mark Sanchez.
Well, yeah. I mean,
but,
okay,
that was
yeah.
the last time they're relevant.
Yeah, and, okay, they won the AFC East 3 years in a row, and, I think they made the wild card 2 times during that time, and then the infamous butt fumble happened, and boom,
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things that, in my personal opinion, Mark Sanchez peaked way too dang early. Like, everybody thought he was going to be the greatest thing at a USC, and, the Jets were going to be like this unstoppable thing, and they were great for 3 years, and look at them now.
Yeah.
They're the laughingstock of the AFC East, and they have been for, I don't even know how long now.
So since 2001, the Jets have won the AFC East. Okay, I'll put it this way: AFC East in the past since from 2002 to 2018, only 2 other teams have won the AFC East. It was the Jets in 2002 and the Dolphins in 2008. Other than that, it's been one team. It's still insane to look at.
Yeah.
Patriots.
Mm-hmm.
every other division is more even, with the NFC East looking the most balanced. The NFC North is kind of balanced too.
Okay, 9 times out of 10, the NFC North, you can always tell who's going to win it. It's either going to be the Packers or the Bears.
Oh yeah, I got Packers. They won it 9 times in that period of time. Bears have won it 4, and then you have Vikings win it 4. So no Detroit. Imagine that.
Detroit's due for a division win, though, I feel like.
The NFC South is the only one where 2 teams are tied for first place. That's between the Saints and Panthers with 5.
Yeah, that sounds about right because, well.
And then the Seahawks that dominated the NFC West.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, every division is it's generally around 5 to 9 wins for one team. And then you have the AFC East is 15. Oh, what a dynasty.
Yeah.
So let's get back to week 2.
Okay. My biggest upset was the Raiders and Steelers because, like, in all honesty, come on, nobody expects the Raiders of all teams to beat the Steelers, let alone beat the Steelers at home. Like, that's just no. I mean, okay, I get it. We had no fans last year for the most part of the season.
I think they've been piping in crowd noise though, legally.
Yeah,
some stadiums have done that. I'm not sure about all of them.
Yeah, I don't know that Heinz Field was one of them though, but again, with the Raiders being as bad as they have been over the course of recent years, and the Steelers being the Steelers, tell me you honestly expected the Raiders to go into Pittsburgh the second week of the 2021 season and beat the Steelers.
I was more open to them beating the Steelers because since they lost to Washington, they've been 2-7. They've won 2 games in that period of time since they've been 11-0. And I mean, going into the season, seeing them walk over Buffalo, I was like, who's going to win this? But after watching that game, I think around halftime, I was sure that the Steelers were probably going to end up losing that game.
By halftime, you were pretty sure?
I think so, yeah. I don't remember. I'll have to look at the score sheet.
I've got the drive summary for the game right in front of me, and literally, this is how it went. Pittsburgh punt, Vegas punt, Pittsburgh interception, Vegas field goal, Pittsburgh turnover on downs, and that was just the first quarter. Second quarter, Vegas field goal, Pittsburgh touchdown, Vegas field goal, end of the half. Third quarter, Vegas punt, Pittsburgh punt, Vegas touchdown, Pittsburgh punt, Vegas punt. Fourth quarter, Pittsburgh touchdown, Vegas touchdown, Pittsburgh punt, Vegas punt, Pittsburgh field goal, Vegas field goal, end of the game.
Yeah, the fourth quarter is the only quarter where they scored even points. Steelers only had 1 point advantage in the second quarter, but that's about it. I don't know. I mean, you can't throw 40 times if you're Ben, have a touchdown interception, and expect to do well.
Yeah, literally.
They're
They were only ahead. Pittsburgh only had the lead in the game one time, and that was when they had their touchdown. And then, you know, they literally never came back.
Pittsburgh, according to this, they never had. Well, okay, yeah, I guess because it doesn't tell me exactly when they scored, but yeah. Yeah,
So
they
Vegas
weren't
had
ahead
those
for long.
two field goals. Then Pittsburgh had their touchdown. That was the only time that Pittsburgh had the lead in that game.
Yeah.
And then Vegas had a third field goal, and after that, Pittsburgh never had the lead again.
Yeah, they're right now. I think Pittsburgh's suffering from what the Bengals were suffering from last year. They're asking their quarterback to throw way too much, and
Yeah,
he's not.
and I mean,
he's not
okay,
in his 20s anymore.
yeah, Ben's not in his prime. He's almost 40 years old, and okay, forget Tom Brady being, in his 40s and doing what he's doing. Not everybody can do that. Not everybody is primed to, throw deep 20, 30-yard passes like that, in their late 30s, into their 40s. Okay, and forget Aaron Rodgers for a second there too, because Rodgers is in his late 30s as well and still able to do that. Ben has had more significant injuries to his upper body.
Yeah, he's got 2 collarbone breaks, and I believe he tore his meniscus too, which is your knees are very important for throwing the football.
Yeah, but okay, yeah, like I said, Ben is almost in his 40s. He can't throw the ball like that anymore. He can't. Well, I mean, he can, but he can't, and he shouldn't be expected to throw the ball like that every single game. That's just asinine, and that's on Mike Tomlin.
No, actually, I think it's on Matt Canada. He's the one who designed that offense.
That's the offensive coordinator for Pittsburgh?
Yeah. So Joe Burrow last year averaged about 40 attempts per game. That's what I'm seeing. He had 404 attempts with 10 starts. That's a lot.
Yeah.
Let's see. He would have had 646 pass attempts that year if he kept up that production. Just a lot. What's Ben at pace to do right now?
I have no idea.
I'm going to calculate it. Let's see. Oh my God. 32, 40, 58. What's Ben at pace to do right now?
I have no idea.
I'm going to calculate it. Let's see. Oh my God. 32, 40, 58. What's Ben at pace to do right now? Ben right now is on pace to throw 736 times.
That's crazy.
If he keeps up this same production through these 3 games. Because he is right now, according to his average, Joe Burrow was throwing on average 40.4 times. Ben Roethlisberger right now is throwing an average 43.3 repeating times per game.
Wow.
Yeah. For a dude who's 39, who just had Tommy John surgery, he's not going to last the season.
Yeah, wasn't he? He was out for an entire season, and they were like basically rotating quarterbacks, weren't they?
They weren't exactly rotating. They were just if the one dude was like if because it was Devin Hodges and Kyle Rudolph. No, not Kyle Rudolph. Mason Rudolph. Mason Rudolph was basically the starter for most of it, and if he started to do bad, they would switch to Duck. They call him Duck Hodges. And I think Hodges had one or two starts, but that's about it.
Gotcha. Yeah, I remember Mason Rudolph. He was the one that got into it with Myles Garrett and got doink right on the head.
Well, that's what happens when you take a defensive end and kick him in the dick with your cleats.
Yeah.
And then try to rip his helmet off.
Well, I mean, you know, I still stand with Myles on that.
I do too, but at the same time, like during the game, I realized in the game wasn't going to have that much an effect on the outcome of the game, but you still can't do that. But it was also too like that whole year under Freddie Kitchens was kind of a dumpster fire. In the game wasn't going to have that much an effect on the outcome of the game, but you still can't do that. But it was also too like that whole year under Freddie Kitchens was kind of a dumpster fire. Have that much effect on the outcome of the game, but you still can't do that. But it was also too like that whole year under Freddie Kitchens was kind of a dumpster fire. Have that much effect on the outcome.
Yeah. So let's see. Hey, we've got 4 people watching us. Don't know who everybody is.
Okay, what else we got from week 2?
So we've already talked about why the Panthers and Saints game was a big upset for you, why it was a huge surprise for you. Kansas City and Baltimore game. That game, the Kansas City and Baltimore game, just, yeah. I really wish that one had ended with a Kansas City win.
I do too, but it didn't seem like that Spags could stop them. I mean, they had the lead very early, and credit to Baltimore defense. They came up. They stepped up. I'm a firm believer they're the reason why they even won that game.
Yeah.
And Patrick Mahomes, he's doing his stuff again. That kind of made him famous with no-look stuff. He's gonna have to stop that. It's starting to not work anymore.
Yeah, well, yes and no.
He had that no-look pass he tried this week that got intercepted. It was overthrown. That's week 3 though.
Yeah. No surprise games. For me, it was Atlanta and Tampa. Go figure. And no surprise there. Atlanta has never beaten a Tom Brady team. He's like 9-0 or something like that against Atlanta. Yours was the Jets in New England. Because, I mean, that was basically a blowout game. 25-6 was the score on that one.
Yeah.
Let's see. We both said it was a pretty big mix of bad football, bad calls. The biggest heartbreak I feel for that week, for week 2, was Minnesota and Arizona, because it literally came down to the final kick and it went wide right. You said Cincinnati and Chicago. Cincinnati was down early in that game.
And they came back. I think they went too quick.
Yes, they came back so hard.
But they did a classic blunder. They gave someone too much time. Yeah. Actually, I think that's when Justin Fields started. He came in that game, took over for Dalton.
Did Dalton get hurt in that game?
Yep, because that was his first game against Cincinnati since he left, and he wanted to come back in.
Sounds like Tampa Bay is potentially going to be signing Richard Sherman.
Another cornerback that Tom Brady has owned.
Yeah, but everybody knows that Sherman wants to win, and he can win with Tom Brady. Everybody knows that.
Hey Sherman, you can come to Cleveland.
I don't think he wants to go to Cleveland.
Huh?
I don't think he wants to go to Cleveland.
He can pick off Brandon Roethlisberger for us. That'd be nice.
Oh, well, you know.
Besides, him and
Alex or Casey.
And besides, Richard Sherman and our defensive coordinator has worked before previously, because Joe Woods was the defensive backs coach for the 49ers.
I mean, he can come fix the Giants' defense.
I don't think it's going to take more than Sherman to do that.
Well, you know, it's a stretch. I know. I'm reaching for the stars there, but hey, somebody's got to say it.
Well, the problem with the Giants' defense is really just the whole unit. You got to give your defensive backs some help with your pass rush. Your pass rush needs help from your defensive backs to, you know, get to the quarterback. Nothing would help the Giants defense. Well, that's not true.
No, Shelbs, you're right. Nothing's going to help the Giants defense at this point.
Burn everything to the ground and then rebuild. Maybe. Or maybe the Giants may just try tanking this year and build up some draft capital. Fix some draft.
Well, I mean, they did trade down a couple times during this year's draft, which was quite shocking. So we got a couple of good first rounders to go after.
Based on the murmurs from Twitter, this doesn't seem like a good quarterback class this year.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
I haven't heard any standouts. I've heard some people not like what Spencer Rattler's doing.
Apparently, people are chanting for his backup. That's what I've seen on Twitter so far.
And there's that guy from Ohio State who may or may not be coming back soon. I can't remember what his name is.
I don't know. I haven't really watched much college football because, you know, med leave. Yeah. So I'm not in the sports book on Saturdays right now. Very sad.
People raspberries.
So with what the Texans did in week 2, you said that you kind of underestimated them.
I
Do
think
you
we all
think?
did. Honestly, I think we all underestimated Texans because of what happened during the offseason. Not only had they been getting rid of players since for about 2 to 3 seasons with DeAndre Hopkins and J.J. Watt, and the whole thing with J.J. Watt wanted to leave the organization along with Deshaun Watson, and then his whole saga with his legal troubles and also wanting to trade and not getting a trade, and their asking price was obviously too high for him. New head coach, I know I counted them out, and so far within the first 2 weeks at least, they seem pretty. They have a legit squad. Yeah, then they had no chance. With after it took Tyrod out, but like Tyrod has dealt with hamstring injuries in the Browns game, and then their backup came in, and he was doing all right. It gave the defense a boost that they needed, but they still struggled against them. Their head coach, I think is, I don't know what his history is, but it seems like he's never been a head coach before, because he made a very questionable decision when it came to penalty. They're 3rd and 13 or 3rd and 15. They got 13 yards back, and then there was a holding penalty on the defense. He elected to decline it and then punt on 4th down, 4th and 2.
Yeah, wasn't that like a turning point of the game?
It was a very the refs were confused. Kevin Stefanski was confused. The fans were confused. I was confused. I'm like, what are you doing? At first, I'm thinking the head coach is thinking, well, I didn't see holding. I didn't think it was holding. I'm going to go ahead and decline it because I don't think that's a penalty. But I don't know. That was a turning point because I think it was around that time. That was one of his Tyrod Taylor's last 1 or 2 drives in the game.
Right.
Because shortly after that, I think he entered his hamstring on the running touchdown that he had, and then he aggravated again when he was scrambling off to the left, and he threw it out of bounds so he didn't get sacked, and he kind of just limped off the field from there. So I think that was in between those 2 incidents. But yeah, that was a head scratching moment. I think most people would take the penalty on that and make it at least 3rd and 5, because that's holding is a 10-yard penalty, or is it 5-yard?
10-yard penalty depending. I think
it's 10-yard penalty on the offense. I think it's 5 yards on defense.
Yeah, that's why I said depending.
Yeah. So it would have been 3rd and 10, and you could have tried for an easier 3rd down, and they tried the same play and got the same yards, they would have had the 1st down. Because Browns were struggling with 3rd down efficiency on defense, and they have for the past 2 weeks. Week 3 was really the first game where they absolutely dominated every aspect of the game. Then allowed a touchdown, but that was a confusing play. That was a confusing game, and Texans, like I said, I definitely counted them out, and when they really came to play the first 2 weeks, I'm like, ooh, this could be, it could be a contender. You're not impressed with what they did with 3, are you? Yeah.
He's going to be a football guru before we know it.
Baby cam.
So apparently the NFL mobile app has this like little light bulb for like highlight notes now or something like that. And on each game, it's basically like, fun fact, this. So I'm going to go through each game for week 2, and then, we'll go ahead and just jump into week 3. Yes, Alex, Wentz is a bum. Like, I think we collectively agree Wentz is a bum. So for the Giants game, McLaurin was the first Washington player with 10 plus receptions, 100 plus yards, and a touchdown since Garcon in 2014. Raiders, Steelers, Carr, 300 passing yards, or 350 plus passing yards, 2 plus touchdowns, and 3 straight games. Longest streak in in Vegas history. Darnold, first 2-0 career start. The Browns are 6-0 in games following a loss under head coach Kevin Stefanski. New England won 11 straight games versus the Jets. No surprise there. Chicago had 4 takeaways in the second half of their game. The Rams started 2-0 for the 4th straight season. The Bills game, that was 35-0 against the Dolphins. That was their largest shutout win since week 3 of 1992.
I was 2 years old. Depends on what. Well, yeah, I was 2 years old.
I was months old.
Yeah, you would, Al. Probably would have been at the very least 6 months old.
Roughly. Alex said Carr is looking quite early favorite for MVP. Just depends. Yeah, I mean, you can totally see it. You know, as long as the Raiders keep playing good, he's definitely a contender.
And we talked about this last night. I don't know if the Raiders are playing good because so far their wins this year have been ugly wins, but they're finding a way to win, which is the important thing. So I'm not sure if they're playing good or they're playing good enough. But stop that. I don't know if they. I just don't know if I can trust that they can sustain this kind of production past week 8.
We say the same thing about Russ every year.
Yeah, they let him cook, but he ended up overcooking it. They burned a turkey.
Yeah. Jacksonville lost 17 straight games, tied for the longest streak since Detroit from 2007 to 2009.
I thought the Buccaneers had the longest streak of losses.
Apparently not.
Didn't he lose 26 straight?
I don't know. Let's see. San Francisco made Super Bowl in each of the last 2 seasons that they started 2-0. Brady 4 plus passing touchdowns in 4 straight games, tied for second longest streak since 1950. Whoop-de-doo.
So in 1976, as the expansion team, the Buccaneers lost 26 games in a row, the longest winning streak in NFL history.
Wow.
Finally winning the game against the New Orleans Saints. But yeah, they currently have the longest winning streak. I think it's probably what that means. Yes, order.
Yeah. Let's see.
Yeah, the Jaguars are like 17-18-0 since they took that picture. Or that Twitter post where it was like, we're not satisfied with 1-0. So and then they went 15-1 or 1-15.
Yeah. As far as the Vikings Cardinals game, the home team has won each of the 8 won each of the last 8 matchups. Titans Seahawks. Derrick Henry had 41 touches, 237 scrimmage yards, and 3 touchdowns. Wasn't that the week that you got absolutely massacred in fantasy football by Derrick Henry?
Listen, I've been personally victimized by Derrick Henry. It's too soon. Nope.
Oh. Right, we weren't supposed to talk about
Yeah.
that. Alex coming in with the
It was pretty bad to the point where I kept rooting for Derrick Henry to just keep running it in. Just let's see 50 points. Let's get to 60 points. If you're gonna bury me, do it properly.
And then, of course, that Dallas Chargers game, that sealed it for me in fantasy because they kept going with a run game, and then Zerline hit that game-winning 56-yarder as time expired. We already talked about the Chiefs game. We're just not gonna touch on that. And then
Chargers should have won that game.
Straight up, Chargers should have won that game, but hey. I feel like with that Monday night game between the Lions and the Packers, the Lions just like lost any momentum they had after the first quarter because they were just like, okay. Week 1 was a warm-up for Rodgers, so we're just going to roll over and play bleh. That's how I felt like that game went.
He's getting squirrely.
All right, you ready to jump to week 3?
Yeah, let's jump to week 3 so I can get this one to bed.
Okay.
You're such a pretty baby, my goodness. Camera loves you.
Camera does love him. I mean, look at him. He's adorable. But who doesn't love that baby? And of course, you have him in an outfit that's got Gryffindor colors. Like,
we don't have any other Hogwarts colors for him.
You wait. He will have more.
Do. You
planned this. I know you did. Okay. Let's see. The Thursday night game was Panthers and Texans. Fun fact about that game. Panthers start 3-0 for the first time since 2015, and that is when they went to the Super Bowl and won.
No.
They lost that one. I'm sorry.
Yeah, they gave that one up.
Yeah.
Kind of like when Cam gave up that fumble. Oh. Too soon? Yeah, Super Bowl 50. That was Peyton Manning's last Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah. Wait, I thought Cam didn't even go for the fumble. Like, he just stood there.
Right. He gave it up.
Pick that baby back up.
He's fine.
Maybe no, he's not. Pick that baby back up. Okay. So biggest upset, I said Cincinnati and Pittsburgh because it's Cincinnati for one, and you know they just.
It's Pittsburgh for 2.
Well, secondly, Pittsburgh lost again at home for the second week in a row. I don't think anybody thought that was going to happen.
Well, last time they Bengals and Steelers faced, Bengals won that too. That's when Le'Veon Bell got leveled.
Oh yeah,
Le'Veon Bell. That was during their losing skid.
You said Chargers in Kansas City.
Yeah, I half expected Kansas City to walk away with that one too.
Yeah, I feel like that one should have been like a gimme game for the Chiefs.
Yeah. But once again, turnovers and defense were the deciders in that one. And I don't know what Spags is doing, but he's just not doing it this year. but we'll see. Last year, Spags, he didn't start off great, and then he ended up like cleaning his shit up. The same thing
Right.
as the previous when they won the Super Bowl. Like going to the playoffs, I didn't think that Kansas City's defense was something that was that great, and then they completely dominated the Chargers after halftime. Or not Chargers, 49ers.
Right. So the biggest surprise I said was the Rams and
well,
Alex said last time the Chiefs lost 2 in a row, they won a Super Bowl. Yeah, they did. So they're gonna turn it around. Just give it time.
Mahomes needs to stop doing that no look stuff. I think teams are starting to clue into that.
Of course, Rams and Tampa. Like, honestly, I didn't think that. What was the score of that game?
It was 24 to 40 something.
34-24. I mean, I was expecting it to kind of be a closer game than a 10-point game, but I'm really giddy still that Tampa lost. And when I was talking with Dad, and he was at the Moose Lodge watching that game, and he said that people were coming in. He's like, everybody was like, oh, no love lost for Brady and the Bucks. He's like, nope, just nah.
It's all right. They're just going to end up taking it out in New England next week.
Maybe we'll see. The Miami Raiders game was also a pretty big surprise for me, just because with the way that the Raiders have been playing, I feel like it shouldn't have been that close of a game to where it went into overtime and it was only a 3-point game. I feel like it definitely should have been, at least a double-digit win for the Raiders because it's Miami.
Is that what you have to say about it?
And then for week 2, you didn't point out a game. You said the Cleveland defense surprised you.
Yeah.
What about the defense is it that stood out to you for the week versus any one game?
Well, of course, I've been following that team for a bit now, and ever since Joe Woods took over, their third down defense has been awful. And I don't think they've had a defensive win since they've taken over. And this was their first time I've ever seen that defense dominate that hard. They finally have the personnel. They finally have they have the personnel to make it happen. They just need the scheme. And it seemed like, I've said this on Twitter, it seemed like that game is going to give the Cleveland defense the confidence that they need going forward. And if they can do the same thing against the Vikings, I think it's game over. I think the defense is finally going to find their identity. Ow, 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 ow.
Yeah. I mean, definitely when the defense on any team finally gels together and is like, okay, we know what our job is. Let's do this. I mean, I've been saying for years, defense wins games, defense wins championships. But you can't say that defense is solely responsible for winning a single game, for winning a playoff game, for winning a championship. No, it takes your 53-man roster to win.
You need to put up points to win the game, but you need to stop the other team from putting up points to win the game as well.
Exactly.
It gives the offense a lot less pressure if they can not have to worry about like, well, if we can't get it this round, I guess we're done. If they can be like, well, if we can't get it this round, the defense has got our back, and the defense be like, well, we played hard this round. The offense is going to give us some time to breathe. It's a lot easier to have a full complete team like that. And you can't forget about special teams either. As what I was saying about their defense. Oh yeah, so during the Bears, there was a interception by John Johnson within the red zone that ended up getting called for pass interference on the defense. So it put the ball within the 15-yard line, I think.
Right.
Now, normally a Browns team does that. I'm like, oh, well, there's a touchdown. I think they went backwards after that. I think they got that interception, and it was sack, sack, sack.
Nice.
So, and they had 9 sacks that game. I don't know what the sack record is for a whole team, but I know for that franchise, Myles Garrett now has a sack record, and he's second all time on sacks per game. He moved up the list. He's only behind one other person. Let's see if I can't find that. Okay.
Yeah, I agree with what Alex said. The Bears are going to need to do something about their O-line before, before the rest of the season, because honestly, if they don't, their quarterbacks are going to get hurt. And it doesn't matter who they put in for quarterback. It could be Dalton, it could be Fields, it could be Foles. They could put any one of them in. And, if that O-line doesn't straighten up, any one of those three is going to get hurt. And
part of the problem is also on Matt Nagy. And he's for the past couple of years as the Bears head coach, he's kind of put the blame on Trubisky. And now Trubisky's gone, it's starting to look like Matt Nagy might be an issue too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean,
a lot of that has to do with scheme.
Well, and not only that, but I don't know if you saw this, but nobody knows who is going to be the starting quarterback for this coming week. It could be Dalton, it could be Fields, it could be Foles. Any one of the three could start. Now, Nagy could either be playing the media and be like, I'm going to keep y'all guessing until I make a decision. Or he could have absolutely no clue who he wants to put in. And it's just like, here, let me flip a coin.
Well, there's a rumor
roll a dice. And whatever number it lands on, okay, this is who I'm going to go with.
Well, there's a rumor I saw going on today, earlier today, that that if Matt Nagy loses against the Lions, he's done.
Now, so is that just a Twitter rumor, or is that like just
I didn't see it on Twitter. I was just searching. I was just going through Google, and I didn't click on an article to read it, so I don't remember who wrote it. But yeah, there's a rumor going around that if he loses against the Lions, he's out. So he's probably thinking closely about what he wants to do on quarterback. But Nagy's been kind of hot seat for a bit anyway.
Yeah.
and like I said before, people thought that Trubisky was the issue, and admittedly, he's a very hot cold kind of quarterback. But I think the biggest issue with Matt Nagy is he's not preparing that team. He doesn't have a good game plan.
Yeah. Obviously, we said that it's no surprise that the Cardinals beat the Jaguars. So the Jaguars losing, it was no surprise. I think that they might actually amass maybe 2 or 3 wins this season. Maybe. But this is definitely a season that is going to be an absolute wake-up call for both Urban Meyer and Trevor Lawrence, because one, Lawrence has never lost until he got to the NFL, and Urban Meyer, I feel like he's trying to implement what he did with University of Florida and Ohio State and try and make it into something that's going to work with Jacksonville, and so far it's not working.
I think I touched on this during preseason in Alex's stream. At that point in the season, he had no idea what he wanted the offensive identity to be. So they have no idea what they want to do with the offense and what they want to look like. They kind of want to do a hybrid of some college schemes and some NFL schemes, but they don't really know how they want to implement that together. So
right. I don't think that you can really take college and mesh it together with an NFL scheme and it be successful, because look at Nick Saban. He was with both the Browns and the Dolphins before he finally went back and just stayed with the University of Alabama. And whatever he's doing with Alabama is working. Whatever he tried doing with Cleveland and Miami, it wasn't working. He is more geared to be a college coach than he was to be NFL. And some coaches are like that. That's why you see when some coaches get fired from the NFL, they will jump back to being collegiate coaches because it works better that way for them. Herm Edwards is another one. He is actually the head coach of Arizona State University. And ever since he took over there, they have done a lot better under his tenure, if memory serves me correctly. I could be wrong about that.
Yeah. There are a couple teams currently, I think they use more college-based systems like what's his name? Cardinals head coach.
Cliff Kingsbury?
Cliff Kingsbury uses a spread offense that he used with Texas Tech.
And see, that obviously works for him because look at what it's doing in Arizona. But also, too, look at the kind of weapons that Kyler Murray has. And look at what they've also got on defense. Look at the leader that they have now in J.J. Watt. Yeah. Now that he's no longer with Houston.
And that offense did not work until they got DeAndre Hopkins.
See, sometimes all it takes is just 1 or 2 pieces to the puzzle to make it a whole puzzle. And then everything is just it becomes crystal clear. And it's just oh, so that's why it wasn't working. We needed this in order to implement this and do this.
Yeah. And I think the other team that uses more of a college scheme is the Ravens with their run option that he got going on, or read option.
Oh, we already got a Thursday night prediction. 34-9, Bengals win. Trevor Lawrence, 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Joe Mixon going to go off on the ground, is what Alex is saying.
Yeah, it's not going to be a good game for Jacksonville. I don't know what the score prediction we had was, but
I'll tell you here in a second. So we agreed that week 3 was mostly bad calls. The biggest heartbreak was Detroit, because I'm sorry, Detroit should have won that game. There was a no call on what should have been a holding call. That gave who did they play?
They played Ravens.
Yeah, so the Ravens should have lost 2 weeks in a row, but instead they won 2 weeks in a row.
In all fairness, if you give someone a 66-yard field goal attempt, they're probably not going to make it. So, like, yes, that holding call should have been called. It would have made it like 71.
They would have had to punt.
Yeah,
is what it would have come down to.
But the fact that the Ravens even attempted a 66-yard field goal and got it, that's an incredible play by special teams.
Yes, yeah. Like, I'm not trying at all to diminish what Justin Tucker did. Like,
right. I just want to point that out.
Like, the dude is 31 years old and kicked a 66-yarder to win a game with, an immense amount of crowd noise, because Ford Field is a dome. Yep. And
which also means he didn't have the wind to help him out either.
Exactly. So there was no environmental factor, but the crowd noise, could have absolutely been a factor, and it ended up not. And Alex said it was
19 with no false start.
Or the no call false start on the Ravens. So there's 2 calls right there that should have been called that weren't called. And, that essentially helped the Ravens. So,
but in any case, that was an amazing special teams play, even though.
Yeah, absolutely. Because
any other kicker would have missed that.
Yeah, that would have been wide left, wide right, somewhere off in outer space.
Because didn't someone this week attempt a long field goal like that and was short and running back for a touchdown?
I don't recall.
I thought it was maybe the Jaguars tried that.
I'm not sure.
Help.
Alex said that they would have went for it, but they wouldn't have got it. Yeah, and that is true. They probably would have gone for it, but it wouldn't have made it through. It would have, either been short or gone one way or the other. And then we both said that Green Bay San Francisco game, apparently 37 seconds was enough for Aaron Rodgers to, make a comeback. That was all the time that he needed. He didn't need any more, any less, or whatever. Let's see. You said, as far as blown calls, the defensive pass interference call in the Cleveland-Chicago game. So
the motion that he pushed off, but it didn't really look like that it caused any separation.
Right. So biggest takeaway, you said Cleveland defense, and yeah, their defense, they absolutely stepped up. Let's hope that they keep stepping up every week. Their team as a whole has, I feel like they have finally figured it out. They have the right personnel. They have the right coaches. They have the right head coach leading them. and they have the right person in the front office with Andrew Barry.
Yep. And
so
Paul DePosta.
You know, it starts from the top, and it's trickled down. And like Alex, I don't know if you heard what Alex said. I think it was Monday, but oh shit, I forgot where I was going with this. I completely forgot. But it starts from the top down. Oh, now I remember. Baker has had like consistency for 2 straight seasons.
And he said he started off with he started his career with 4 different head coaches, 2 in 1 year.
Exactly. So like he's had Stefanski for 2 straight seasons. He's had the same system for 2 straight seasons. So, it's
same
been
coordinator, same personnel around him on the team itself. Yeah.
Exactly. It's been the same all the way around for 2 straight seasons.
You have to remember that 4 years ago they went 0-16.
Yeah, I remember.
Now look at them. That was and then they started to say after going 0-16, they went 7-8-1 under the same coach that went 0-16.
Yep.
Yeah.
My biggest takeaway, that Monday night game. I'm sorry. We all know that I will rag on I will rag on Dallas. I will rag on Philly. I will rag on Washington. Hell, I'll even rag on my own damn team, because guess what? My team is freaking 0-3 right now.
Mm-hmm.
Just like my standings in fantasy. Ironic? I think not.
Well, over the past few years, I think you've come to respect Dak. Just as a person. I think it's almost impossible to hate Dak.
No, see, I'm the type of person that it doesn't matter who you play for. I give credit where credit's due.
Right.
Like, you've got sports fans that are like, oh, well, this is my team. I'm not going to disrespect my team. Not blah, 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 blah. And then you've got sports fans that will just outright disrespect anybody that says crap about their football team, their sports team. That doesn't matter.
It's okay. You can just say the Steelers.
Or Eagles.
Yeah. Oh, the Eagles also disrespect their own team, too. The Steelers think every year they're going to go win the Super Bowl.
But Dallas, they came to play last night. Like,
yeah.
if I was doing a same game parlay on the game last night, I would have taken Dallas with the points and the over, because that would have been easy money, like straight up. Dallas came to play, and as like on the Philadelphia side of it, I really like watching Jalen Hurts. Like, the kid has got talent. He really does. And I'm really excited to watch him develop into an even better football player. What are your thoughts from the Monday night game?
I think Eagles still have to put it together. I don't even know who their head coach is. But
I'll tell you.
My take from the Monday night game, Fletcher Cox has the best touchdown celebration I've ever seen.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Oh, and I don't know if Alex and Shelby's seen this yet, but I guess Peyton and Eli are going to take a break from Monday Night Football for a couple weeks. They'll be back in week 7.
Yeah, apparently it was like a 10-game thing for the season, and that includes next year and the year after, from what I saw in the article. So let's see. Eagles head coach. Nick Sirianni.
Yeah, Sirianni. So big. So big.
So let's get to our picks and previewing of week 4. That way we can get that tiny little one to bed.
Maybe we should do tomorrow.
You want to preview week 4 tomorrow?
Yeah, we're shooting tomorrow because it's 8:45.
Okay. All right. Well, we got a lot of views tonight. You know, hopefully everybody hits that like, subscribe, and share button. And we will see y'all tomorrow. Thanks for hanging with us. Smush, say bye.
So big. Say so big. So big.
All right, guys. We'll see ya.